Hello everyone, welcome to Connections for Change. My name is Gusti Renaldi or Didi, and I am the International Alumni Manager based in Jakarta, Indonesia. Today, I'm also joined by Iwan Murty, the Chair of Indonesian Global Leaders Network Advisory Committee. Iwan, thank you so much for joining us with us today.
Thanks, Didi. Hi, everyone. I'm very honored to be invited to share some of my finding uh, for sharing with the wider Monash alumni community. A little bit about myself. I've been in the research industry since '92, and currently I'm running another agency called RB Consulting. And what we do mainly in consumer research, B2B research, and marketing consultancy. Just happened that given this COVID period, many of our friends and clients asking us, well, what can we do to survive all this COVID-19 and the looming recession, and how to grow the business after the recovery. So I shared with Didi at the time, and then now I'm being asked to share a little bit about that finding.
So, Iwan, could you please share with us your finding and insights about what we can do or businesses can do to survive during a recession, especially in a marketing point of view?
So let me just probably answer this into two different stages. One is during or for the COVID-19, what can we do? And then we look at the recession. So let's start with the COVID-19 first. That with the movement restriction, I think everybody knows that change in the shopping channel. In the early days, actually, people are not too worried about price. Simply that, please deliver the goods to my house. In that sense, because I cannot go out. So, what businesses can do? One is make sure your business has digital option, and secondly, bring your services to your customer house. So the second one, probably everybody understands, that's about delivery services. But the first one, having digital option, it doesn't mean just simply delivery, but digital option. So what I've seen in Indonesia at least, that, or in fact in many countries, that traditional businesses, in order to survive, they're starting to give this digital option. For example, the easiest example is, and then the immediate example is restaurant. They providing delivery. Those who normally just serve or dine in, suddenly they offer delivery services. But other industries that I've seen, I just spoke with my friend. He runs one of the largest furniture chain in Indonesia. So this is furniture chain showroom. Normally, you want your customer to go in, but with this lockdown, his business still needs to run and to sell. So he actually created a system where potential customer can make appointment with the store, and then on the specific or on the agreed time and day, they will go in, and the storekeeper, because they still can have one or two people in the store, will bring just sort of like Zoom and show the furniture that they want to see. What surprised me is the one industry, at least the one that I know, hairdresser. I was expecting that hairdresser will give digital option. You can see that my hair is starting to get long, and actually, if you check your Instagram or Facebook, you will see picture of male getting haircut from their children or from their wife. Not the best result, but for me, showing why not this industry providing digital option. So that's one. Just think of your business, what digital option can you provide to your customer to make their life easier during the COVID-19, but not just to make their life easier, but to ensure your business continuity. And if you can deliver it, and make sure that deliver the it's not only about food, but I know you can buy mobile phone, new one, from through delivery, or sport equipment through delivery. So that's on the COVID-19 movement restriction. The latest data that I have for Indonesia, people who claim that because of this COVID-19 situation, it forced them for the first time, they buying through online is about 5%, and about 35% claiming that because of this COVID-19 situation, they actually buy more through online. So that's COVID-19. What about the second element, facing recession? Now I'm pretty sure some of us have been through 2007 recession, 2008, or even if you've been through 98 recession, so 2007, 2008, and then the recent one, I think back then was about the one that I did study was in 2007. So when we enter this after this COVID, or even now starting to feel the bite of the recession, people don't have disposable. Most of people have changes in their revenue or their income, meaning their disposable income can be severely cut or simply disappear. So if you have done all this consumer segmentation based on psychographic, based on demographic, during the recession, our view is that you have to look at differently. You have to look at how emotional based segmentation, how your customer, in a way, is that how your customer cope with this recession. So from a study for Indonesian back in 2017, for housewife as the main grocery buyer, they will put stricter priority, reduce spending. So strict priorities in the spending or reduce spending, and there become price sensitive and lower brand loyalty. So with that mindset, so I have to manage my spending better, and I have to cut some of the spending. So what we found in the treatment of product, they will either cut the spending altogether. So in Indonesia, we were brought up by posting or classifying primary spending, secondary, and tertiary. So tertiary spending like watching movie, going to mall, so all this nice to have spending, that will be gone because they don't have spare money to for doing that. Secondary needs, either they change to smaller pack. That's why in 2007, sachet type size, from bottle to sachet, people just move from bottle to sachet because they have to manage their spending daily. So sachet boom at that time. Or they will go for a cheaper brand. At that time, soap like, well, I wouldn't name the brand, but this lower price soap, it just went up because it's primary. You still have to take bath. But they manage the spending from expensive bar soap into lower price. And I mean, some heartbreaking example that we learned at that time, mothers even downgrade the product from family milk for their children, and they give sweet condensed milk to as a replacement. Of course, there are two different things, but that's how the consumer manages during this time. So the question is, how much do you know, if you have business, if you have brands, how much do you know about your consumer? How much do you know what your consumer will do to your product? Is your product part of the must-have, or your product is just nice to have category? In the past few years, everybody talk about experience or lifestyle product, experience services like going to cafes, stuff like that. So I don't know if your product or services part of the nice to have. Just start think hard of how do you survive in this recession. The other thing is that again in the segmentation, if you what we learn is that some housewives will be very painful in this recession, so they will start cutting many things. But there are other households that still can survive. Normally, middle up. Yes, they will get the bit of bite of the get bitten by the recession, but it doesn't really impact them so much. So the question is, once do you know about your product nature, but then the second question, do you know about your customer composition? Because if your consumer composition is mostly affected by recession, then again you have to think very hard on your marketing strategy. So on the next, so we have seen on the COVID and recession impact. Then typical question during downturn, I just read some of them, like how can I make my brand grow? To spend or not to spend on marketing communication? Do I need to lower the price? And how do I increase my brand value for money? So those are the typical questions that we keep hearing from our clients. So as a closing section, if I can share a few tips on the marketing in downturn, this is unfortunately the basis of the thinking came from mostly from FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, or these consumer packaged products. But hopefully some of the tips can be applied for services, those who are in the services industry. One tip, or tip number one, don't cut your product quality simply because you want to lower the price. Why? Because we have seen in 2007 when recession will end. Sometimes when they started to earn money, if you cut your quality, then you will lose trust when the recovery time, when times get better, consumer will leave you because they don't trust you. You think that you're doing them justice by cutting the product quality, but actually that's not what they want. They still want to. So you have to think. I'll come up with that other tips. So one is on product side, on product element, do not cut your product quality. Same thing for services, I guess. That still apply to services. Number two, question, spend or not to spend. We have seen also cases back in the past recession, those brands who still invest in the marketing communication, they recover better or quicker than brand that stop all the spending. Why? Because especially for fast moving consumer goods, you need to be in consumer consideration mindset. Don't let consumer forget about your brand. So that's tips number two, is protect advertising investment. But of course, you have to spend it wisely. On this one, two different school of thought. One saying that stop advertising, which we don't believe, but the other one is let's still spend because TV rate would drop because TV station will also need money. So if you have the money, go for it. But then let's be wise in terms of more tactical spending. Nowadays, you can spend on digital media and you can get measurement very quickly in terms of click rate, return on investment, and so on. Tip number three, when you do promotion, do value-adding promotion rather than simply cutting your price. What do I mean by that is that rather than, this price $1 or 15,000. No, actually in US, that's Australia. In Australia, this is $1, 10,000 rupiah rather than cut 50%. What if you put buy one, get one? Same thing for them getting more value or complementing product. Why? Because the moment you keep cutting your price, that will affect the in the time of recovery. They get used to with that lower price, and that will in a way influence the brand positioning. Tips number 4, prioritize to sell more. Basically, is keep your loyal customer, your loyal consumer. That's for the prioritize to sell more where your loyal consumer normally buy. Tip number 5, during this economic slowdown where everything is difficult, if you have multiple product portfolio in your company, this is the time for you to review which product portfolio that you can cut, because during easy time, often let's try to keep this product or this brand for another year or two. But take this momentum to review all this product portfolio that you have and just cut the one that you've been planning to cut anyway, or the one that doesn't really give you good margin. And last one is that just monitor catch your shopper at the point of purchase. Nowadays, one of the growing channel is online, of course. That friend of mine who shared with me on their sales. So the moment they open digital option, yes, they started with very small base, but he said that their growth for online sales is not double digit, but it's actually triple. Of course, from small base, but the growth is very significant. Yes, it hasn't really replaced the revenue from the traditional showroom sales, but at least consumer now know that they can buy through digital option. Why this is important? Because learning from China, who just finished this COVID lockdown, those who change their habit into online, they're most likely to stick with their habit. So that's the anticipate that new normal. So with that, I hope it wasn't too long, but with that, that was my sharing. So I'll be happy to answer any more question or have separate discussion at later time. Well, thanks for the opportunity to share.
Great. Oh, was such a great insight. I really learned a lot also. So I hope the broader alumni community will also find it valuable as well. So unfortunately, we are running out of time. But again, on behalf of Monash University, I would like to say thank you so much for your time and support, Iwan. And we look forward to seeing you again in the near future.